Hey, welcome back to Black Flag Garage. Well, you can see we're standing here next to my old 78 F-150 four-wheel drive, and I want to show you something here. So when is a Ford 9-inch not a Ford 9-inch? You ready? Come on, let's get into it. Now we're under the truck, and as you can see there, well, that's just a typical Ford 31 spline 9-inch center section, or as old people like to call them, the pumpkin or punkin. Well, if I told you that is not the original center section in this truck. Now this old truck of mine, it's an early 78. It was actually built in September of 77. The axle code is H2, which means 350 gear, limited slip, with a 3,750 pound rating. Okay, because a lot of 9-inches, some were only 3,300 pound rated. This is the heavier one, 3,750. Now let me show you the real kicker. This is the original center section out of my truck. And some of you are saying, well, it's just a Ford 9-inch. No, look closer. See that rib it's bent down? This is not a Ford 9-inch. This is a Ford 9 3/8 center section. The 9 3/8 center section was the heavier duty of Ford's actual Ford produced axles. They were very, very common in Thunderbirds and Big Lincolns and stuff. And they used them quite often in trucks through 1972. Now a lot of people say, well, Ford didn't put them in trucks after 72. They did in this one. Because actually what happened was I was actually hauling a corn picker home on my trailer and an axle bearing went out. And before I could get stopped, pieces of the axle bearing ran through the ring and pinion on that one, and it destroyed the ring and pinion. And 9 3/8 were not real popular, so nobody makes ring and pinions for them. So I couldn't find a ring and pinion for it. Now some of you are going to say, well, you swapped, or not me, but somebody swapped that center section into it. Well, remember I said it has to be, according to the tag, it has to be a 9-inch with 3,750 pound rating and limited slip. Remember that? Well, believe it or not, this was a 350 geared 9 3/8 limited slip. It was a limited slip differential. So let's see. It's the heavier duty axle. It's 350 geared, and it is limited slip, which matches all three things that the H2 code is. Okay. Not to mention the fact I took it off when I changed it, but it still had the original tag on the center section. I've got it here. When I moved a few years ago, some of this stuff, I ain't gonna say got lost, but misplaced. So I've got to come across the axle tag again, but I did save it. But because I wanted to reuse that one, because you can't break those things. They are heavier duty than a Ford 9-inch, but you can't get parts for them. But I wanted to reuse it if I could find a ring and pinion, because it was limited slip. But I ended up just having to get an open 9-inch because that's all I could find at the time, and I put it together, and that's what I put in the truck. Because actually the 9-inch that I found was no good, and had to get another one, and actually like take two and make one. And that's what's been in this truck now for 12, 13 years now. So a lot of you are going to argue with me, and that's fine. You can argue with me. But this truck was actually special ordered, because there was a package available back then that got you the heavier duty axle with a 400 engine. Not 351 modified, but a 400. And this one was also ordered with the full-time transfer case, which don't ask me why anybody would want to order the full-time transfer case. Always get the part-time if you can. I need to change this one. I mean, this one has the kit put in it where you can unlock the front axles and stuff, but the full-time transfer case, or the part-time transfer case, is a whole lot stronger case than the full-time case. So no, full-time was just a bad idea. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But that is the original center section for this truck. You know, if I didn't have to tear it apart, I'd show you that it's not, because the ring gear on those are so big on a regular 9-inch housing that won't fit into the hole. You actually have to notch the housing to get the ring gear to go through. And I could show you, if I didn't have to take it apart, that this is not some backyard hack job that some guy with a side grinder cut in there to make it go in. No, it was factory cut or pressed, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's, like I said, people are going to argue with me, but that is what came in this truck. Now, why did it come in this truck? Well, now that I can't answer you. I mean, supposedly, you know, they didn't put them in trucks, or didn't put them in trucks very often after 72. But it is a fact that the 9 3/8 axle was available all the way through 77. Okay, this truck was built in 77, so that does fit that timeline. But also, I'm not going to tell you who, but I work for a very, very big company, like on scale with Ford Motor Company, that big. And I work on the production side of it. Actually, globally, they're probably bigger than Ford Motor Company, but I work on the production side of it. Now, if we run low on a part or something, do you just stop production and send everybody home? No, you deviate for stuff. You know, if you have another part there that can be used and is equivalent of what's supposed to be in it, you deviate for that part and you go ahead and run with that part. Or in this case, you know, because you got to remember, when these vehicles were new, a lot of them were ordered. You know, you didn't just go to the dealership and pick one off the lot with everything that you wanted like they have now. They didn't have as many vehicles on the lots back in. A lot of times you ordered them and had to wait a few weeks up to a few months to get it. And, you know, and they built what you wanted down as it come down the assembly line. So think about that for a minute. So if you've got to build this truck and you're running low on 9-inch center sections that are 3,750 pound rated and are limited slip, do you just not build the truck, or do you say, oh, well, hey, we've got this 9 3/8 center section here, it's limited slip? No, you go ahead and build it with what you have. I mean, that's very common, because you never say never when it comes to production. I mean, there are guidelines and serial number breaks and stuff. Are they always accurate? No, they're not, because I can tell you that from working in the production side of it too. It's up to the people that's supposed to be doing as to how accurate it is. And then there's a gray area. Okay, like we know we ran the first one on this date, but we still got some of the old ones, so there's going to be some overlap for a while. See what I'm saying? There is a gray area even with serial number breaks. That's what I'm saying. You never say never, because some will always jump up and fool you. So hopefully this helps some of you that are standing there scratching your heads if you wound up with a truck like I did, trying to figure out how that got in there. I mean, don't get me wrong, some guys did cut the housings and put 9 3/8 in them, but there's some that didn't get cut that got them in it. So that's what I'm saying, never say never, because you're not going to send a bunch of workers home just because you don't have a part when you can deviate or substitute another part that's just as equal. It's just not as equal on getting parts for them. So if nothing else, I hope you found this informative. So be sure and hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, and listen to more Goose Creek. And stay tuned. Me and the pups will be back with another one. See you.